Man City, 23-man squad arrivals at stadium ahead of West Ham. Clash Manchester City's 23-man squad arrived at the stadium with focus, confidence and a clear sense of purpose ahead of their important clash with West Ham United, as Pep Guardiola's side prepared for another huge Premier League test. With the title race entering a decisive stage of the season, every movement, every selection and every sign of readiness around the squad carried extra meaning. The arrival of City's players was not just a routine matchday moment. It was the latest sign that Guardiola's team understand exactly what is at stake as they chase another major result in a campaign that continues to demand consistency, intensity and mental strength. The atmosphere around the stadium built steadily as the team coaches pulled in and the players stepped out one by one, dressed sharply and looking locked in for the job ahead. Supporters gathered outside were quick to cheer their stars, with many hoping to catch a glimpse of the biggest names in Guardiola's squad before kick-off. There was a mixture of excitement and tension in the air, the kind that only comes when a major club enters the business end of a season with silverware still on the line. For Manchester City, these occasions are familiar, but that does not make them any less significant. Every fixture now feels heavier, every point matters more, and every squad arrival becomes part of the story. City came into the match knowing West Ham could not be underestimated. Recent official match build-up from the club described the game as another key Premier League challenge, with City still pushing to stay close to Arsenal in the title race, while West Ham were fighting for their own objectives. The club's preview also highlighted Pep Guardiola's strong record against the Hammers and Erling Haaland's excellent scoring numbers against them, underlining why City would believe they could take control if they played at their usual level. Manchester City FC, as the players made their way inside, much of the attention naturally fell on the biggest stars expected to carry City through the afternoon. Erling Haaland's arrival always draws special notice, and this time was no different. The Norwegian striker remains one of the most feared forwards in world football, and against a West Ham side that has often struggled to contain City's attacking movement, his presence alone gives the champions an enormous advantage. Whether through his movement in the box, his hold-up play or his ruthless finishing, Haaland is the kind of player who can turn a tense game into a comfortable one within moments. Supporters know it, opponents know it, and the look on City's faces during arrival suggested they were ready to build the match around their usual strengths. There was also plenty of focus on the midfield unit, where Guardiola's sides often win games long before the final whistle. City's control, rhythm and structure usually come from the composure and intelligence of their central players, and seeing the midfield names arrive together only increased confidence among fans. In matches like this, dominance is not only about scoring goals, it is about dictating the speed of the contest, forcing the opposition to defend deep and limiting transitions before they become dangerous. West Ham's direct approach and threat on the break had already been noted in City's own analysis ahead of the game, making midfield discipline especially important for Guardiola's side. Manchester City FC, the defensive arrivals were equally important. Clean sheets and control have become just as valuable as flair at this stage of the campaign, and City know that one lapse in concentration can undo a full afternoon of good work. The defenders walked in with the calm body language of players used to high-pressure occasions, and that kind of experience matters in matches where the opposition may spend long periods waiting for one chance to punish a mistake. Against a side like West Ham, whose style can be compact and physical, City's backline must combine patience with alertness. Guardiola will want his defenders not only to stop attacks, but also to begin them, pushing the team up the pitch with clean passing and clever positioning. One of the biggest talking points around the squad, however, remains fitness and availability. In earlier official team news for another meeting with West Ham, Guardiola confirmed that Rodri, John Stones, Jeremy Doku and Oscar Bobb had all been absent due to injury issues at that point in the season. That update showed how injuries have tested City's depth and forced others to step up when needed. Even so, Guardiola has continued to demand high standards, and the sight of a strong 23-man group arriving for this latest clash was a reminder of the quality City still possess, even when not every player is available. Manchester City FC +1. That is one of the defining features of this Manchester City era. No matter who is unavailable, Guardiola expects the collective structure to remain powerful. The names may change, but the principles stay the same. Dominate possession, move the ball sharply, press quickly after losing it, and attack spaces with intelligence. The players arriving at the stadium know those demands by heart. That is why City so often look calm before major fixtures. Their confidence does not come from noise or drama. It comes from preparation, repetition, and belief in the system. Fans outside the stadium also had reason to feel optimistic because of City's wider record against West Ham. Official club analysis noted that Guardiola had remained unbeaten in all of his Premier League meetings with the Hammers, while City had won the vast majority of those encounters. That kind of record does not guarantee anything on the day, but it does create a psychological edge. When players arrive knowing they have consistently performed well in the fixture, it adds an extra layer of assurance to the occasion. West Ham may still pose problems, but City know this is a matchup they have often mastered. Manchester City FC still, Guardiola and his staff would not allow any complacency to creep in. West Ham's season may have been inconsistent, but they remain capable of causing problems, particularly if City leave spaces in transition or fail to make their early dominance count. The official preview pointed to West Ham's ability to score on fast breaks, a warning that City must remain compact even while pushing numbers forward. Matches of this kind often depend on the first goal. If City score early, they can stretch the game and impose their passing patterns. If not, frustration can grow and the visitors can become more dangerous. Manchester City FC. The sight of the 23-man squad arriving together underlined another important point: unity. In a long season, not every player starts every week, but match days still require total commitment from the entire group. Those on the bench must be ready to change the game. Younger players included in the wider squad must absorb the rhythm and professionalism of senior football. Injured or recovering players, where present around the group, still contribute through their support and presence. A title-chasing team is never just an 11-man story. It is built on the mentality of the full squad, and City's arrival scene reflected exactly that. There is also something symbolic about these pre-match arrivals. They offer the first visual clue about a team's mindset. Are the players relaxed? Are they serious? Are they moving with energy? In City's case, the answer looked clear. This was a squad arriving with business on its mind. There were no signs of distraction, only concentration. Guardiola has built a culture in which the biggest matches are treated with normality, but behind that normality sits fierce ambition. City do not arrive just to participate. They arrive expecting to perform, expecting to dominate, and expecting to win. For supporters, those moments spark imagination. Every fan watching the team step off the coach begins to picture the game ahead. Haaland attacking crosses, the midfield controlling possession, the defence holding firm, and Guardiola pacing the technical area with his usual intensity. Match day begins long before the first whistle, and the arrival of the squad is where that feeling truly starts. It is when hope becomes visible, when lineup debates begin to sharpen, and when confidence rises with every familiar face seen entering the stadium. This particular clash carries added weight because of the broader Premier League context. City know they cannot afford many slips if they are to keep serious pressure on Arsenal. The margin for error is tiny, and that reality gives every match a cup final feel. Official club coverage ahead of the game made that clear, framing the contest as another essential step in the title battle. For Guardiola's men, therefore, the arrival of the 23-man squad was not just a prelude to 90 minutes of football. It was the beginning of another must-deliver afternoon in a season defined by relentless demands. Manchester City FCA's kickoff moved closer. Anticipation only grew. Inside the dressing room, final instructions would be delivered. Players would shift from arrival mode into match mode. Music, tactical reminders, and personal routines would take over. Outside, fans would continue to sing, predict, and believe. And somewhere in between all that noise and preparation stood the simple image of Manchester City's 23-man squad entering the stadium together, focused, united, and ready for the battle ahead. Whether the afternoon ends in celebration or frustration will depend on what City produce on the pitch, but one thing was already clear from their arrival. The squad looked ready for the challenge.